Yes, everyone, it is that time. Time once again to face the music. Mark the Movie Man made his predictions last week, and now here are the consequences. Welcome to the Final Cut Oscars Consequence Show with your host, Mark the Movie Man. Let's get this thing fired up, shall we? Yes, everyone. Welcome. I'm playing with the toys. What can I say? Hello, everyone. Yes, this is our consequence show. We did last week. We did the live show week today, actually, where we made our predictions for the Oscars, and the Oscars happened. They finished a lot sooner than expected. They're not going on right now, so that's good. The show, you know, the show finished up a lot quicker than maybe some expected, and for others, it didn't. It went too long. Who knows? But in any case, we'll try not to make this one go too long today, folks. But yes, this is our live show, and um, I'm still not sold on them having a host. In all honesty, I enjoyed the shows where they didn't have a host, where they didn't quite do the gimmicks. They still did their routines, but they didn't have the host with the jokes going on. Though Jimmy Kimmel hosting was all right. His opening monologue was interesting. He took a little more brave steps than I thought he was going to. Though the one where he did the joke with the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, yeah, that got shut down real quick. I don't know what he was thinking with that one. Um, that fell flat. There are a few other jokes that he made that fell kind of flat, gimmicks in that, and yeah, I kind of like how the show moves without a regular host, where you just jump from presenter to presenter and that, and they can give their little quips, but that's just personal choice. It moves the show along a lot more. And it was interesting this year as well, the whole QR code thing that they had going on, where you could look up more information by scanning this QR code. And I thought, they're trying to get the more catch up with the rest of the culture, get the kids in on it, where you could scan the QR code and get more information and all that. So I thought that was an interesting touch as well. What is also interesting is the cover your ass moment with the in memorandum, in memoriam, the memorial. That's always a controversial thing. Who do they leave out? Who do they put in? This one was really weird this year because they put a few people in who you're like, huh? And they left a lot of people out. But they put in the cover your ass moment at the end of that, where they put in, hey, scan this code and go to the website to see all the people that we may not have presented in this slideshow for the live broadcast. And I was like, okay, all right. Not sure if that's a good compromise to leaving the people out that you did, but they did that. I guess they're trying. I don't know. I understand how they can get that one wrong. I just move through the slides maybe a little faster if you have a lot more unfortunate passings in the previous year, but you should still be pushing, presenting them in the live broadcast if that's what you're doing. If you're going to do that segment, then rather than executive, we present executive, but we leave out Paul Sorvino and a few others as well. So just always a really odd thing that they do for the in memoriam, in memoriam. I'll get pronounced that right eventually. But anyway, the songs, yeah, RRR. The only acknowledgement that RRR got was for best song, and it won. Hooray! Love that song. That song. Every time I hear that song, I want to dance, but my knee says no. My knee says no. You can't do the dance like they did in the movie because you'll be going to the hospital again. And I'm like, oh, fine, okay. But I'm very happy, though it was a bit of a stiff competition. Though that song, I think the worst performance of the songs for best song category was the one for Everything Everywhere All at Once. That one just did not. That was I have no idea what was going on with that performance, but that one was rough to watch, for many reasons. And welcome my two live viewers. So glad, two live crew. No, sorry, bad joke. But anyway, so the performances, I will say the Everything Everywhere All at Once song that was up for nomination, that live performance was not good. It just felt so jumbled. Lady Gaga, I liked her performance and the fact it looked as if she kind of abandoned the glam for the song, that she sang. I believe it was from Maverick, and her performance was really well done. Rihanna, for her performance of the song from Wakanda Forever, everybody I think kind of thought that maybe was going to be in the front runner. And that goes along with one of my predictions as well that we'll be talking about in just a little bit. But unfortunately, that one didn't win. But fortunately, not two one. So it was bittersweet because that both songs very powerful songs, in very meaningful in their films. So their respective films. A lot of the other it to see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I know that's a very polarizing film. Some people really hate it. A lot of people enjoyed it. Some are really like, eh. I think that's a consequence of the pandemic and the kind of void that had to be filled because Hollywood, the big studios were holding off so much on productions and that because everything was uncertain. We know all the story. I don't want to go through all of that again, but what I will say is it's interesting coming out on the other side of that and the studios ramping up again. They still had to fill content for a while, so you had A24 stepping up, which had all this indie content and such. And they had a strong year. A24 had a strong year, at least for me. There's only, I think, one movie of theirs that I didn't care for last year, and that was just a personal choice, and that was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. But all the other films I think released by A24, I thoroughly enjoyed, and were surprising. And I don't think some of those films get wide release if you did not have the studios holding off on productions during the pandemic because they had to. I honestly don't think you may get some of those films with as many eyes on them as you did. So yeah, so it's interesting going forward now too. What we're seeing, some people realizing the superhero fatigue. I believe news just dropped recently that Disney Plus is pushing out a number of shows that they had scheduled for this year. Streaming shows got pushed out. Loki season 2, which is the biggest one, considering how much they teased it at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania. So the fact that they delayed that, it's just at coming soon. It's an interesting landscape, and I think the Oscars this year kind of just reflected that. The fact you've got a Netflix film that won a number of awards, All Quiet on the Western Front, which I had a chance to watch, a very, very good film. The fact it went to Netflix kind of quietly, didn't even realize it had been released, right? So yeah, and it's not necessarily for the bad. I think it's showing that some of these indie, I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once was $25 million or $24 million to make. And some people would not consider that indie, especially for the films we cover on the Final Cut. But it's still, in the overall grand scope of things, is a smaller budgeted indie film compared to other extraordinarily wide released films. So, maybe it opens the door. It has studios looking at more quirky, unusual, original product to come out. Some people call Everything Everywhere All at Once a non-Marvel film because it dealt with the multiverse and how it played out in that. I could see that, but it's more at home and emotional, and carrying the theme that we've seen in cinema in the past year as well. And I'm sorry if I'm going long, but it's just what we've seen in cinema in the past year of the theme of family, not just from Fast and Furious, but from across the board in cinema. We see this theme of family coming up. We've got it in Everything Everywhere All at Once. You have it in The Whale. You had it in even the big films like Ant-Man, Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the most recent release, the Shazam, A Fury of the Gods. That the theme of family is coming through a lot more. At least it seems to be coming a lot through a lot more, and they're covering that now. And so I think that's an interesting turn as well. But I digress. Everything Everywhere All at Once won a lot of Oscars, deserving for sure. There weren't too many surprises, except basically the my two consequences that we're going to end up facing. So let's go to our consequences. And yeah, the one prediction I had for original score was Babylon. And okay, full disclosure with picking Babylon, I enjoyed Babylon a lot more than a lot of people. I very much enjoyed the performances by all, the story, how it's like the dark side version of you know, Singing in the Rain. I thought it was just it was a really cool film about early cinema, put through a different lens that you're not quite used to seeing that period of cinema being presented on the big screen. And the fact that it didn't really get a lot of nominations was a bit surprising for me, but I was happy to see the original score picked because I did enjoy the music to it. But All Quiet on the Western Front, which was a surprise for me, and I think a lot of people, because if it wasn't for Babylon, it was going to be The Fablemans because John Williams, and All Quiet on the Western Front, which I was talking to the manager of the movie theater here in town just before watching Shazam, and she said she listened to the score and it was a very, you know, really powerful score. And don't get me wrong, it was a good score. It was an interesting approach for a period piece, but still not a bad score. But I kind of enjoyed Babylon's a lot better. Maybe it was because of the jazz music and such in it as well. But alas, yes, we got it wrong. And so my consequence film for that one will be the 2001 hip hop homage film to The Car Wash, aptly named The Wash, starring George Wallace and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. And yeah, kind of the hip hop homage to The Car Wash. 2001, it came out. I remember when this came out. It was directed by DJ Pooh. um, and I just never got around to watching it. So this will be a first time watch for me. And that was recommended by Miss Angelique Bone, who you can hear on the Monsters Madness and Magic podcast. And she's occasionally frequents our podcast. Angelique suggested it. And her caveat for that was that it is a funny film, just not necessarily a well made one. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see. So that is one of the films we will be reviewing here for our consequence film. And I'm going to try to fit it in within the next month, promise. Not sit on it like last time for many months before I finally got to it. So The Wash was my consequence film for mispicking the music original score. And the only other one that I got wrong that I think I think really was a surprise to everyone was the other category I got wrong out of my predictions, which was Best Supporting Actress, not being Angela Bassett for Wakanda Forever. You know, I just that one. Don't get me wrong. Now, I I liked I liked Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm glad she got her acknowledgement for performance. She put in a great performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once. But Angela Bassett, she just put in a performance that was a whole nother level for what you would expect for a performance in a superhero film. I just she blew me away in every scene she was in that film, and Jamie Lee did well too. Don't get me wrong; it was a hard call for sure, but I was really pulling for Angela Bassett because she just really gave chills for every scene she was in, and unfortunately, she did not win. She at least they nominated her, but she should have won that category. That was, I think, the only one for me that I really felt strongly about, and I was torn because I do like Jamie Lee Curtis, have enjoyed her performances over the years, and it was just the fact that it was this time that she won it. Really would have liked to see it go a different way, but our consequence film for that one, I'm being told, is a very rough watch, and it's called A See Me Dance from 2009. Now, A See Me Dance, as it's written on the IBIDM, is a drama centered on a teenage girl who has trained her entire life to dance for the Pittsburgh Ballet. It is a Christian themed film, I do believe. I mean, one of the tags is spiritual warfare, good versus evil, ballet. Yeah, and I've been warned and by a number of folks on this film. Mr. Derek Carey, who did Worst Movies Ever podcast on it. Check his Astro Radio Z podcast out. Great podcast. Thank you, and Derek, for but it wasn't Derek who suggested this. It was Mr. Scotty D himself. Yes, Baby Spice of the Spoiler Room, Mr. Scott Davis of Movieocrity, which still some of his stuff is out there online, folks, for you to check out. A very knowledgeable person. He has probably forgotten more than I will ever know about cinema. And yeah, Scotty D suggested this one. Apparently, he saw this in the movie theater. He paid money to see me dance, and he warned me it's going to be rough. It is going to be rough. So that is the only other film that I will have to face the consequence on. So there you have it, folks. There's our consequences. So glad. Thank you for the 2 viewers that hopped in, and the minute they heard me talk with my consequences, they dropped out. But look for reviews of CB Dance and The Wash to drop on the Final Cut over the next month. And if you're looking for more stuff, I've got like 7 movie reviews coming up, folks. So look for all of those. We've got an interview that just dropped with the director, creator of Enter the Dragon. It was a great interview. I thought so. Very fun time talking with Lee Dave. I'm going to mess the last name pronunciation up. So just check it out on our channel with Lee. He was very fun to talk to and gave a lot of insight about that and his other film, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. So, and what's on the block in the future. So we got that interview. We've got a new podcast episode up on The Host 2013 for the Spoiler Room. I've been a guest on, you'll probably agree, where we talked about the Last of Us show. I was on Kicking the Seat podcast, where we talked about both the Mandalorian episodes 3 of season 3, as well as Scream 6. And look for me soon to be on the Horror Miser Monty G's show to talk about Halloween, not Halloween, Halloween, sorry, to talk about a Scream 6 as well. And I got a lot of great stuff coming up next week. Go to specialmarkproductions.com. Please like, subscribe here onto YouTube, or if you're on Twitch, please follow. We got a lot of great stuff there. Going to get back into game streaming as well, where I can work it in my schedule, filling my plate up, spinning more plates than I have hands for, but that's the way we do things here. So thank you for your support and to listen to me on this long-winded reaction to the Oscars last week, as well as my consequences. I appreciate every single one of you. And until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.